DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. As is our tradition, we're going to kick off with some updates and then roll into the questions submitted by all of you, our wonderful community. So thank you to everyone who is tuning in live, as well as everybody who will check out this recording a little bit later. First and foremost, Sunbear, how are you doing?
Hey, Bolon. I'm doing great, man. Good to be here. Happy to hop in after a couple weeks of doing other things and being away. So yeah, happy to jump in. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you, sir. Hubert, how are you doing today?
I am also doing good. Thank you for asking.
And Winston, both, how are you doing today? And also, who are you fighting today?
Very nice, Bolon. I guess you listened to last week's AMA, it sounds like. Today I'm going to be fighting T-Heat again. He's coming back for a rematch, and I think this time I might be able to defeat him. I can't remember if he won both or if I won one and he won one. Pretty sure I did win both. But we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to fighting him again. I think that's pretty much it. I'm still waiting to find out if he would like to bullish us at the end of this or if we're going to have somebody else on the team do it. So thanks, Bolon. I'm glad you're back. Hope you're doing well. How was your trip? Did you see a fish or anything like that?
I did see a fish, actually. No, thank you. The trip was really good. It was very enjoyable. Saw many fish, actually, and some bioluminescent microorganisms that light up when you move, when they move. So then you make them move and it all lights up. It's really cool, actually.
That sounds made up. You can be honest, dude. You don't have to lie. Like, I just wanted to know if you saw a fish or not. That's all I wanted to know.
It's actually really cool, and I highly recommend the experience. It's pretty awesome. But
also, it sounds like T-Heat would like to bullish us, so let's plan on him coming up.
I did listen to last week's AMA. You did a phenomenal job hosting. I did notice that you still forgot to ask Hubert how he was doing, though. You asked Fox, but then forgot to ask Hubert. So, we're getting better.
Yeah, I was. It was embarrassing, man. I was kind of beaten a little bit by doing that, so I had to be really careful and made sure to get Fox.
Yep. All right. Let's jump into some other updates. We have Hubert to talk about a little surprise.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, so we have some tournament updates coming in just a little while after this AMA. It'll impact everything going forward. Let's see, there's kind of a bigger list. We did already kind of announce the big one in advance, which is anti-stalling mechanics, which are going to essentially start after the 2-minute period where there's like looking at your heroes and enemy heroes and skill time. Once that 2 minutes has passed, it will start, and basically what happens is if your shot clock goes under 10 seconds, you will receive atrophy is the status effect on your entire party. And it essentially just increases the damage that your party receives from everything, including from tomatoes. That atrophy will grow each time you do that. So if you go under, like the first time, it'll be just like a 1% increase, so not very bad. Second time is another 1%, so it becomes 2%. The third time it goes to 4%, and then it goes to 7 total, and then 10 total. And then it just kind of steps up from there. We'll have a table in the announcement. And then if it is into sudden death mode at that point, whatever the addition is going to it's going to double instead. So if you were going to get a 5% atrophy, it'll become a 10% atrophy instead. There will be visual indicators on the clock itself. Like I believe it changes color. There will be a symbol you'll be able to see on the shot clock that it's coming, and you'll see status effects on your heroes when it happens. These are permanent. They don't wear off for the rest of the fight. And so generally, yeah, you're just encouraging people not to wait for the full 30 seconds. As long as it's before the 10-second left mark, that won't apply. But be careful, because sometimes it does take a little bit of extra time for like the move to actually process and stuff. So it could, if you're waiting too close, you might end up getting it anyway. So just be careful about that. Let's see, as far as like the game clock itself, like shot clock is still going to be 30 seconds always, but there's still just going to be that 2 minutes at the start. So you'll have that time. And 1 or 2% is really not going to be that big of an impact to the flow of the battle. So like, getting hit by it once or twice, not that big of a deal. But yeah, if you're consistently going slow, then it's going to start really hurting, I think.
Yep. I was just going to sneak in and kind of say the same thing. We did some testing, and you do have to move pretty quickly. Like, you got to move fast. I think if you're purposefully stalling, it's going to be difficult to do. And also, if you're just kind of farting around and taking too long, like you're gonna notice it. So you're gonna want to move quick. I will say it is a little bit forgiving. I've noticed that. So if you get to like 10 seconds and then 9 seconds and make your move, it probably won't get you. But if you get well under 10 seconds, it'll almost certainly get you. So, and it is punishing. It adds up very quickly. Back to you, Bolan or Hubert.
Yeah. See. So yep. And we may adjust things if depending on how this goes, but we did want to get this out before the champion tournament, just so that it's not great to watch everyone run the clock down all the way, and recognizing that stall strategy has become kind of the more not always guaranteed success, but pretty successful approach. So this will at least guarantee that the opponent gets more turns and gets more gameplay out of the experience, and is not just kind of deprived of getting to play, which I think is just not fun for everybody, except for maybe the person who wins is happy about the prizes. But in general, I recognize it's not great, and it's also not great to watch. So hopefully this will help address that. And even if there are like turtle comps out there that are still trying, they'll at least have to make more moves and give the opponent more time to take more actions. In general, if everyone's trying to avoid that penalty, there's going to be 33% more action happening at least. So at least like compared to, I guess, on just one side, if both sides aren't doing that. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. Also with that, a few other things that we're going to do is, let's see. Sorry, I have a list here. We are doing quite a few things. Oh yeah, so the shot clock. We did make an effort to make sure that the shot clock was, would show when it started. But it seemed like there was still people that were running into issues where it just wouldn't show unless they refresh, and sometimes even then it would not show. So now we're just going to have the shot clock always show from the start. And if it's like in that 2 minute period, it'll just say like 99 seconds on it until it gets below 99 seconds worth of time. And we'll start counting down then. So hopefully this will resolve that issue for everybody, and you'll always be able to see that shot clock. So there is that. And let's see. Few other things. We have several bug fixes that will be coming as well that you'll see. And there was another bug with patrols that you'll see. We're also... see, is that not coming out yet? I'm not sure if it is or not. There might be one other patrol thing, but I'll just leave that out because I'm not sure if it's ready or not. And then the other thing is, like, we have had some like order of operations things that have been kind of weird, especially around like sudden death happening, where it seems like sudden death happens and then a bunch of stuff that should have happened before happens after. So we kind of fixed a bunch of those order of operations effects, and some things with like some of the berserker triggers in particular were off. So should see all of those kind of be fixed after this. There might be one or two other things, but I think that's kind of the big one. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. There really are a lot. So for the championship and for I think one other tournament, we're going to try adjusting the round length from 25 minutes to 30 minutes. And that is going to make it so that sudden death starts 5 minutes later on those. Just to see how that's going to play out. We'll be interested to hear player feedback on that. But, there has been kind of a complaint about a lot of the fights ending because of sudden death. And especially for something with as high stakes as the champion tournament has, I think it, at least for this one, we're going to see if it would make more sense to just give everybody more time so that it's more based on the player's skill and less on like interacting with the sudden death mode. So yeah, but yeah, definitely interested to hear on feedback on that. And, maybe we just, with this extra, like with the atrophy mechanic added in, maybe that'll be enough. We do have, we're not doing any balance changes with this push. So like things are still going to be as they are in terms of the strength and the power level of all of the skills. But, we do have also a big bunch of balance changes that we're starting to implement now and begin testing. So that'll be for, future weeks that'll be out. I think that's it.
More. No. Yeah, stay tuned for the patch notes. We will, of course, be putting out patch notes as well. To Hubert's point, our first champion tournament is this Saturday. So really excited for that. Really looking forward to watching some phenomenal PvP content from folks who have won their way up or bought a qualifier token, because that is also an option. So first champion tournament this weekend. As a reminder, everyone who joins that tournament, it does have a buy-in, but that the reward just for being in the tournament is equivalent to the buy-in. So if you make it out of the first round, you are winning more than the buy-in. If you don't make it out of the first round, you're effectively getting the buy-in back. But that way we have the buy-in to use for sponsoring the matches and all of that fun stuff. Champion tournament sponsorships are higher because that's how the structure works. So also for those of you looking to cast some votes, the champion tournament can be a really good option for that as well, with a little bit higher sponsorship amounts as well. So make sure you keep an eye out. Really looking forward to that. I'm sure someone will be streaming it. I also might stream it. I got to figure out what my Saturday looks like before I can commit to that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited for it. And to Hubert's point, with the slightly longer round length, it should really let players highlight their own abilities. And then this new mechanic will be in place for it also. So
I remembered one more thing.
Go for it.
One other change. Finals are going to have sudden death start 10 minutes later in all tournaments from now on. So that is another change. So.
Ooh. There you go. So finals, also a slower tomato time. That is awesome. As a reminder, thank you, Sir Worm, for helping remind me what the DFK with Sir Worm and Emerson are doing giveaways of teams for the Patroller Limited. So keep an eye out in Discord. There's one going right now in the current contest. Current contests channel. But make sure you keep an eye out. They're going to be doing more giveaways of some teams for Patroller Limited tournaments. So get in there and enter and hopefully win a team. Huge shout out to What the DFK for putting those on. Also, we have a surprise limited time guest. Dreamer is hopping in here with us. Going to talk a little bit about his time at GDC, and then I believe he has to run. But Dreamer, welcome. How are you doing? And anything you'd like to talk about?
Hello.
Yep,
Good.
you're good.
Yeah. Yep. Hi, everybody. I just want to give a quick report. So last week, kind of last minute, was asked to go to GDC for a number of reasons. So over 2 days, got a lot of stuff done. But among that was hanging out with some of the friends that we know over at Avalanche. They'd had a really cool gaming lounge, and pretty much every Web3 person that was at GDC came through. I think it was a huge success, and it was really cool. They had set up a demo of DFK over there, and while I was there, I got to walk through an additional handful of influencers to play the Patrols demo, and there was not one negative comment. I think that this kind of like manual one-on-one work at events with live demos, it tends to like pay dividends in weeks and months to come after, because even when people see posts on X, which are extremely helpful, or they go themselves to try it out, being like in person with somebody and walking through the battle system, talking about like the time bar and how you can look at everything like a live tutorial means a lot. So we already have some additional influencers asking how to get in, and we'll be working with them. But outside of that, it just felt good to be a part of like the gaming family without any questions. Last year and the year before, it was always like a little bit harder, and it's gotten easier and easier. This year, I didn't get one question of, wait, DeFi Kingdoms is a game. I only got questions of, I've been seeing what you guys have been doing. Do you have a demo? Yeah, it's right over there. Let's go check it out. So that feels really good. The work that we've been doing, sometimes in marketing, you have to change the narrative, but it doesn't happen with one post or one campaign or one feature. It happens with an entire community showing what we are. There's no question now that we're not only a game, but we are one of the top games on Avalanche and continue to put out more. There was another comment from some like mid-level influencers. One of them used to be an ex-pro gamer who said, I like playing Avalanche games and I want to play more, but I'm lacking variety. So I think they were hinting to like Shatterline and Off the Grid and some really fun first-person shooter games. But a consistent comment that seems to be coming up is, I want more like on-chain games. I want games that are doing more with Web3, that are actively building, and every month putting out something new, and kind of showed our delivery of builds and our AMAs and other things. So I really feel like what we have and what we've been doing and what we're building in our plan is what so many are craving and either don't realize is here or is starting to. On the YGG side, that was another focus. That we originally met them in person at the summit, and they were going to be at GDC. So got a lot of time in with YGG and extended partners and all the different ways we can collaborate, some of which I can't really talk about, but it was a very, very big focus and a big success, and I'll leave it at that. Outside of that, there are a lot of other big leads on ways we can collaborate with others and potential income streams as well that are new to us. So within 2 days and very little sleep and about 30 hours round trip of travel, we got a lot done at GDC. I did not go to the actual event. I kind of heard that it maybe wouldn't have been worth it anyway, but everything, every part of this is kind of on a budget. And we did have a lot of benefit from going, a lot of which I just can't talk about, but huge success, good networking, good exposure, good demo, and some really exciting new leads as well. So with that, Bolan, is there anything I missed or any questions that popped up?
No, I think that was a great summary. Greatly appreciate you making the trip out to San Francisco and my least favorite state, and representing us at GDC. I think from what I've heard, it was a really, really worthwhile trip. So appreciate you hopping on another plane.
Yeah, no problem. It was great, and hope made everybody proud, and look forward to some potential announcements and other things to come. But other than that, it's been nice to continue to be accepted by the growing Web3 gaming hardcore community. It's a little bit hard to tap into when we started these efforts a little over a year ago, I suppose. And now people aren't wondering why we're there. They're looking for us and they want us to be there. And that feels good. So people should be the big fat B word and I am as well. And I will stop interrupting the AMA. Back to you, Bolon. Thanks for letting me pop in for a bit.
Appreciate you, sir. Awesome. Yeah, no, that was perfect timing too. It coincided with the end of our updates. So we will roll on into questions. Starting out with Hubert, as I'm sure will come as a surprise to everyone. Can we add tomato mode to private bouts?
We probably can. It would take a little bit of a upgrade to the contracts to let us set that, I think. But I think we could do it. Just requires a bit of effort and time. So I don't know that we'll prioritize that right away, but maybe I'll take a look and see. I'll at least bring it up and see what would be required to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Any thoughts on doing a either free to run or like gold or shells entry fee to run? Focused on tournament. Sorry, tournament focused on number of patrols completed, but at an even higher benchmark, like 50 plus or something like that. And then the rewards are in Metis. With the theory being you're playing patrols, using gas to play patrols, you join the tournament, you can win metis, which then helps feed your gas for patrols and so
on. Yeah, so I suppose we could think about doing that. We do have, with the patroller limited now, there are options, but that one's kind of more of a like a low cost access to tournaments with the potential for getting a chest at the end, and you can get still 5 times what your entry fee is if you win those, and you could convert that entry, like what you get in USDC, to metis there as well. So whether the rewards are in metis or in a different form, you can always convert it into metis. So I guess there's that. I'm not sure if we wanted to add more tournaments to the calendar than we already have right now, but it's something we can definitely consider. It's always not great to see like tournaments cancel also. So, I think it'd be something where we would need to consider what to do there. And I guess if it's like saying 50 patrols, I don't know if that means like 50 within the last 2 weeks or like 50 ever. Because if we do 50 ever, then once people have reached that milestone, then they can always do it. So I assume this is more geared towards like people that are like grinding patrols a lot. Yeah.
I think I meant like that week or week prior.
Right. So yeah, if we can consider it, I'm not totally sold on the idea right now with what we already have, but maybe we could add one more, and that's just like that. It's kind of a standalone that doesn't really link to anything else, but we can talk about it.
There was a part of the question that I want to call out specifically, just because I think like we'll use this as an example, but we've seen it asked in different ways for different reasons and different things. How possible or not possible is it to have like dynamic entry periods? So like the example in this one was, at start you have to have completed this many patrols. Then at a certain mark you only have to have completed this many. So essentially giving priority to certain qualifications, but then having it change throughout the entry period.
So yeah, that is a pretty big rework of how the contracts work. Like the tournament contracts have to work for all tournament types. So like if we were to add kind of a dynamic entry requirement system like that, then we would need it to be designed in a way where we could have that toggled on or off, or have it work in specific ways for specific cases. And the more complex the logic you desire there, the heavier it is on the contract side. And those tournament contracts are already kind of pushing close to their limits. So if we push it too far, then we have to start splitting functions into 2 different contracts, and then the gas costs go up a lot when we do that. So I'm not sure it's really worth it to do it. It'd be quite a bit of work to do. So maybe not. But technically it is possible. Just I don't know if the payoff is there.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Are pets going to appear in combat with their own animations?
Probably not. The pets have a different pixel density than like the combat engine does, so it does it would fit in weird looking, unless we like redid all of the pets, which we're not going to do. So likely not. I mean, the pet combat bonuses that are actually activated abilities do have, like, those abilities themselves do have animation VFX tied to them, so you'll see those. But yeah, likely not on the pet appearing themselves, but we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Have we considered changing the structure / order of the information on the hero cards, particularly now that combat is out, to reorganize that data to be more categorized? Combat relevant stuff, questing relevant stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that question had a nice image attached to it, so thanks for providing the example on that. Yeah, we have kind of considered some things. I think there are definitely things that we could show that would be helpful, like I guess besides just your genes for the passive and active abilities, also things like your strength score relative to your level and all the other dynamic stats, I think would be kind of helpful to see where your hero stands compared to other heroes, and just to be able to know those numbers since they show up in all the formulas for all the skills, and things like what your block chance is, or like your raw block chance just based on your stats, things like that. So yeah, I think we have considered it. It's just a matter of priorities, which is always the answer, unfortunately. But I'm not sure that it's something that we're going to be able to prioritize very soon, unfortunately. But is that vertical line always there on that UI thing? Sorry, I'm just that seems new or buggy or weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just my computer.
What are you talking about?
I do see it, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it keeps popping up on right now. It's like on whenever the box lifts up, it's there, kind of at the bottom there. It's on the Anyway, sorry, just random thing. Just noticing weird buggy things. Sorry.
We'll take a look.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. I got distracted by the line. I got another one for you. Do we have thoughts or a level of satisfaction on the utilization of the different codex classes in PvP so far? Do we feel like we're seeing all classes used, and do we take that into consideration for balance?
Yeah, I mean, definitely take it into consideration for balance. If there's certain classes that are being overused or underused, that is a pretty key indicator of needing to either tone down or tone up one or the other, or a mixture of both. So definitely taking that into consideration. So yeah, was there more to that question that I've missed?
There's a kind of follow-up part. Do we have any thoughts on implementing all unique classes on all non-daily tournaments?
I think probably we wouldn't want to do that. Just forcing all unique classes really actually reduces the playing field in terms of options. Like it does mean that you're not going to see any double classes or triple classes happen, which that just means those team comps, you're just cutting out of the possible team comps that you'll see by doing so. With that said, I do recognize that double archer teams tend to be pretty strong and show up a lot. So I assume that just the desire here is maybe someone has seen that too many times and they don't like it. So I think it might be worth considering including all unique classes as an option that we can have on sometimes, but I don't think I'd want to put that on all the time.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, like, especially the non-daily ones, the higher you get in the progressive tournament structure, like, the more competitive it's meant to be. So the more restrictions we put on it kind of shifts that back the other way to where, it's still more competitive, but they aren't, players aren't allowed to use their heroes necessarily. So we do have some restrictions on those. We also have some that are completely non-restricted, but especially putting it on all of them, I think would drastically change the like competitive field. Let's see. Actually, a question that I'm going to take: can we provide metrics on unique active wallets and transactions on Metis and Crystal Vale since the launch of patrols? Certainly. I will say all of the Crystal Vale ones, I'm literally just pulling out of the Explorer, so they are public. Anybody can take a look. That said, since the launch of patrols for Crystal Vale, we have gone from about 8,500 addresses and around 675,000 transactions each day, up to a little over 9,000 addresses and bit over or right around 750,000 transactions each day. So we've seen about 500 wallets and about 75,000 transactions as the increase there to make life easy. In terms of Metis, it is a little bit harder to track that data, but to give you an idea on the transaction side, we've gone from around 1,500 transactions a day, or 2,000, 2,500, somewhere around there. I actually can't see back that far, so I'm going off of memory, so I apologize, but it was somewhere in the low few thousands to 25,000 or more every day. And then wallets on Metis, we have seen a pretty comparable increase to Crystal Vale. So we've gone up by about 500, I think. I think it was, let's see, again, I can't go all the way back, so I'm actually working off of data that's like a month old plus what I remember instead of 2 months. So we've gone from, give or take 200 wallets to about 800 wallets. So definitely seeing the increases there. I'll also just say in terms of patrols specifically, we are definitely seeing significant increases in both number of players and number of patrols completed daily. So just as a reference, let's see. So I mean, even if we look at, the first day of patrols, which arguably would have been a high example, but there were 163 players that did 824 patrols. The last few days, we've been more like 380 players doing around 3,200 patrols. So we're definitely seeing increases both daily and overall. That was a lot of numbers. I hope everybody caught them all and remembered them all. There will be a quiz later. But yeah, we're definitely seeing increases in overall and daily numbers. We're continuing that. The YGG Gap campaign has been bringing users in, which has been awesome. It's been great to see. They're joining our Discord as well. Some of them, not all of them. They're also generally pretty active on Twitter, so we're seeing engagement there also. So it's been really cool, and we're going to keep that ball rolling and keep onboarding more users.
And I'll just add real quick, Bolin, y'all, I think we're planning on sharing some of those major milestones as we approach them. Whether it's like big transaction numbers on Metis, for example, or number of total battles fought, which you've already seen some of. But we started hitting those milestones pretty quick, so we decided to space out those numbers a little bit with posts about it. And our total patrols, things like that. So you're going to start seeing some of those bigger numbers. Metis is also working on tracking things a little bit more efficiently and really breaking it down by DApp overall. Most of what you can find online is just their overall numbers and not really a breakdown. So we do have some more data coming as well. Bolin, I think it'd be fun too to see how much influence has been spent over a day, a week, for example, and how that's changed. Some different things we can probably share with the community.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, to your point about the milestone graphics, we started and then went, oh crap, we can't keep up, which is a good problem to have, by the way. So let's take a look. Actually, I'm going to take one more and then I'll switch back to Hubert. Why do we allow links to be posted in Discord? Is there a way to allow it only for people with a certain badge? We've actually talked about this in Discord a few times. Short answer is no, it's all or nothing, including GIFs. GIFs are links. So if we block links, it blocks everything. So far from my own research, the only way that I've found that could kind of maybe get around that, we would have to restructure our entire Discord and all of the roles and everything. And then we would need everybody to like get the new role and drop their old role. It would be quite a thing. Unfortunately, beyond that, like if you block links entirely, it blocks everything, GIFs, everything. There are ways in Discord to try to block certain words, but there's a lot of ways around that, as we have seen already. So you know, it's an ongoing battle, but definitely, you know, if you see any links or anything and we don't catch them, just make sure you tag the. If you tag the Squire role, it will tag all of our moderators and all of our admins. So you can drop one tag and it tags all of us. So if you see anything faster than we do, just ping us and we'll come and ban that person. Love dropping the hammer. Going back to Hubert now. Is it realistic to expect crafting to be released in 2025?
Probably not. Not like if we're talking about all of the heroes with their crafting skills and everything. I think that's like crafting is kind of the last big piece of like the gameplay loop with land functionality and everything as well. So it's a lot that needs to happen. Like a whole bunch of new like recipes need to be created. Resources for those recipes need to be created, analyzed, and things like that. We need to have land functionality happening, travel happening, and whatnot. So there's still quite a lot there that needs to happen, and still quite a lot that we're doing just to get like combat in the right place. You know, with releasing new classes and new modes and new features around it. But with that said, we do potentially have like things that are kind of like stand-ins for some of the crafting classes coming, and we already have some of that now with the Alchemist as well. Like you know, I think you can expect that when we do have crafting out, that a lot of what the Alchemist does will no longer be available through that functionality and be like hero ran instead. So yeah, for the time being, I think just things that just kind of feel necessary for like near term will just be done by NPCs until we can get it to a better state.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I have a long one for you. So in combat, if a hero is unstoppable and channeling, can the unstoppable hero be taunted? Actually, I'll try to give it to you piece by piece.
No.
All right, which also means that taunt can't interrupt the channel because they can't be taunted.
Well,
Are there specific? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, taunt, if they're unstoppable, they can't. But taunt can sometimes interrupt channels, which was maybe the next questions you were going to ask.
It was, yeah. Are there specific scenarios where taunt can or cannot interrupt?
Yes. So any channeled ability that doesn't target an enemy can be interrupted by taunt. Which I think right now you see those on the Seer. And so like those specific channel abilities also have like some extra taunt resistance during that time. But yeah, anything that is not targeting the enemies does that. Has that weakness.
Nice. And then so the last question was, if the heroes can be taunted and still continue to channel, will the move still attack the original target or switch to the taunter, but there wouldn't be a target, correct?
Right. So if if it is a channeled ability that targets the enemies, if it's a single target, then the target will move to the taunter. If it's a multi-target and like the taunter is going to get hit anyway, then it's still going to remain being a multi-target hit at that point.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Noticed that the priest can wield a mace. Is there a reason?
Yeah, early design decisions. So yeah, when we were initially just like defining weapons and whatnot, we had this concept of, what about a more cleric style of priest? And if we did that, we'd probably want them to use a mace. But then later on, when we actually designed the priest class, like the skills that would actually work with that ended up ending in like the tier, like the 10 skill cost ones. I think there's like a battle priest passive in particular that was kind of designed to be focused on that. So yeah, right now it can be equipped. It does. Right now there aren't any maces that have good spell scaling on them, so like I wouldn't recommend that you equip maces on your priests because it'll just be bad. But in the future we may have more maces that are a little different, that do have like good spell scaling on them and behave more as like a this is meant for priests kind of way. But for the time being, we mostly just focus on them being more of a like a knight or warrior utility equipment that helps with dazing and stunning and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you. If an enemy is blinded channeling, is the accuracy affected, or is the accuracy determined when the channel is initiated?
Yes, the accuracy is affected for channeling. However, if it is a delayed action that's already on the time bar, the accuracy for that was determined at the time of casting, so blinding won't help.
Nice. Any thoughts on a trade-in for odd pets resulting in a new pet with an otherwise unavailable bonus?
Yeah, that's pretty complicated. With the way that pets are set up, and just I guess if it's an otherwise unavailable bonus, like what does that mean? How does it affect things? Like it could be a pretty big lift to give I guess odd pets a specific bonus. So I don't see us doing something like that. But I guess we do have coming up soon with Divine Essence the ability to have your pets transcend with the heroes they're attached to and get extra Divine Essence from that. So I mean, there are new burn mechanics for pets coming, so maybe that gets to kind of part of the the reason for that question being asked.
Nice. Giving you a momentary break. Last week, Fox mentioned updating the Harmony Bridge. Can we explain why we are still putting resources into something like that? Are we forever tied to keeping that bridge open? I mean, realistically, more or less, yes. There are players that still have their assets on the chain that shall not be named, and we're not just going to abandon them by shutting that bridge down and saying, "Oh, too bad." So, part of the Web3 ethos is that they own their assets, but it does fall on us to enable them to get those assets where they need to be. So the short answer is, yeah, pretty much. Like we need to keep that bridge open. It's not something that generally takes a whole lot of resources. It's honestly, for the most part, it goes untouched for long periods of time, and from our end, and players just use it as they come back. But right now we do need to give it a little attention to switch it over to the layer 0 tech and make sure it keeps running. But that's part of the game. Jumping back to you, Hubert, can we charge viewers Jewel for the ability to throw a tomato, and can it do a small amount of damage?
I mean, most things are possible, as that would be as well, but I don't know that I would want to add a way for players to like not players, for spectators to like change the flow of battle. I mean, there are fights that like 5 damage could change everything because someone has survived with 1 HP left or 2 HP left. So that would be, I think that would probably be infuriating for the people that had that happen to them. And yeah, so like I don't know that like one that would do damage, like for something that is something where it's just like you could throw a tomato and it doesn't actually do anything, but show up on the screen that it happened, like aesthetically type things like that. I think that is something that we could potentially do, and more within, I think, like where maybe if we did do that, the tomatoes that you use are actually something that has a cost to being able to use them or something. Like I could see that happening, but having it actually impact the flow of combat, no, I don't think we're going to do that.
Win by spectator. If I reset a hero to level 1 with Divine Essence, will it also reset the Divine Essence usage counter?
I assume that means for like level re-rolling.
Yes.
And yes, it will reset it back to the start of value, since it'll basically make your hero just like a fresh, newly summoned hero in a way.
Nice. Do we have any plans for distribution of the new Coral equipment outside of tournaments?
Currently, no. I think, it could be possible that we'll give some of those chests out as rewards for other things potentially. Not that we've actually talked about doing that at all, because we haven't, but it's possible that we could do that. So maybe, but for now we're keeping those exclusive to tournaments and trying to drive interest in doing tournaments, so that you can get those items.
Nice. Thank you. Let's see. I'm going to answer a couple on behalf of our front end folks. In the tavern, can we change the way that the all filter works so that it checks all of the boxes instead of just being like a single box? So like the idea, but unfortunately, we would have to rework how all of the filters work to do that. So while it is something that will go on the list, it will probably not be something that happens soon, because that would mean we weren't doing something else. But yeah, unfortunately, that one's going to take a little bit more work. Can we put on top of ongoing expeditions list the earliest one to finish? We're going to take a look, see if, whether that be default or at least an available sort option. But that one shouldn't be as bad. So we're going to take a look at that one as well. All right. Jumping back over to Hubert for a couple more questions, and then we will move into our wrap up. Will moksha runes be used as ingredients for any potions, other consumables, and or gear crafting?
I was distracted. What was the start of that question? Sorry. Oh, moksha runes. I remember. Okay, sorry. My bad, guys. So maybe I can say that very likely it'll be used at least for ingredients for upgrading to the rune after moksha, once we really increase the level cap. Beyond that, it's possible. I think right now we use Shavas runes in the recipes for the lesser stones, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I mean, it could happen. I think there's really no rule against letting things like runes or Gaia's tears or even like attunement crystals be required as a part of like a recipe for crafting something.
Nice. Have we considered changing the prize structure of tournaments to allow for not only the guaranteed prizes for the top finishers, but also a raffle prize of some sort for all participants?
Well, you do get shells, so I mean that you do have access to that system, but I know that's not what the question's asking. Having a different raffle system that maybe is just tied to participation or tied to getting a specific place in the tournament. It's another one of those things like definitely possible. Another I think easiest would be if we provided a token that was again, we already give shells. Like if we had a separate raffle system that used something besides shells, we could potentially just give a token for that. If it involves us needing to reprogram the way that the tournament system works itself, then it kind of runs into that same question of is it worth the growth to the contract for it, because it might be kind of a big lift to do that. Yeah, possible, maybe. Different ways that it could be solved if we did it, but it's just a matter of do we want to, and how much time do we want to dedicate for that right now?
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. With that, we are going to begin our wrap up so that we can end on time today. If you've submitted any questions that we did not get to, worry not. We will get to them next week. As always, thank you to everyone who has tuned in, will listen to this recording later, or even those that transcript later. Also, special shout out to those that help Winston spell check his transcript, because it's helpful, and thank you. Outside of that, you can submit your questions at talk.defykingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in Discord. Greatly appreciate all of you, and thank you also to those that have taken the time out of their day to hop up on the stage and answer questions for us or fight random community members for us, and to T-Heat for also taking on this battle, which we will be bringing him up on stage momentarily for anything he wants to say and a B word. In the meantime, though, we will go around the horn for any other final thoughts. I will just give a last reminder: Saturday, Champion Tournament, going to be awesome. Make sure you tune in. Also, if you want to vote, make sure you are ready. There will be some bigger sponsorship amounts throughout that tournament. Sunbear, any final thoughts?
Hey, Bolon, I'm so ready. I'm going to be voting and watching and maybe even planning for when I might jump into one of those tournaments like you did the other day. Hope everybody is doing well. I just love what's happening with the team right now. There's so many things happening that we can't even talk about that I'm excited about. I wish I could, but just glad to be here and excited to hear the B word.
Thank you, thank you. Let's see. Winston, I've made Hubert talk a lot. I'll give him another second of a break. Any final thoughts?
That's nice of you, Bolon. No final thoughts from me. Good game, T-Heat. Really stoked that I get to fight some of the best players over and over again. It feels great to fight them. But yeah, bullet B wordish. That was close, dude. I almost blew it there. Super stoked for the future. Really excited. Been having a lot of fun with tournaments. And I think that things are just going to get brighter and more fun. So thanks for playing with us, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Very nice. Thank you, as always, for being willing to do these battles during the AMA. It's great entertainment and a fantastic distraction for all of the rest of us when we get caught up in the fight and stop listening. Hubert, over to you. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say?
Let's see. So yeah, I just really looking forward to the Champion Tournament coming up. Hopefully also you guys enjoy the new anti-stall mechanics that are going to be showing up in the next tournament today and beyond. And thanks to everyone who helped test that, and just getting it ready. Should be pretty fun, but definitely want to hear feedback. I'll be paying attention to what people are saying in Discord and everything when that happens. Reminder on the Champion Tournament that it does, the entry fee is essentially provided back when you enter that in terms of rewards. So like at the minimum, you're getting your entry fee back, and then everything past the first round is getting at least one treasure chest, plus like some really big rewards on there as well, with also some tokens to get to the all stars later. Those tokens to get in, are available in the bazaar. Looking at the prices, it looks like there's only a couple listed right now, so there may be some holders out there that have more than one of those tokens, and maybe they don't have those listed, which is up to them to do. But hopefully you'll see a couple more maybe get listed, just so that there's more competition. But if not, we're going to have more of these champion tournaments coming up, so you still have chances in the future to be able to participate in later ones that will have the same kind of rewards. And we'll see that the Crown of Submersia coming out pretty soon too, with that, since that's going to be in the coral chest, I believe. So
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you. As a reminder, before we go to T-Heat, keep an eye out for the patch notes. They will be coming shortly. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Over to you, T-Heat.
Hey, thanks, Bolon, and thanks, Winston, for the great matches. Just, for the record, Winston, we were 1-1 in the last AMA, but you have dominated me twice in tournaments, so I owed you a little payback today. So I appreciate you for putting up a good fight, and I look forward to our next battle. So with that said, I'll keep it short. I am very bullish.
Bullish.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.